Well, hi there, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Mark on Comics. So, today, what I have for you is the May previews for books coming out in July. So, I've gone through the different previews magazines here for the month, and I've actually got a very big list. So, I'm going to start off with Hi, everyone. Please hit the like and subscribe and notification bells before you go. Now, back to my chicken sandwich. The episode. Marvel. Well, the first book on my list to me is a little bit disappointing, but it's still on my list. Last month's previews said, X-Men 35, that's the last X-Men issue. And now we got a new X-Men #1. I knew it would happen. I can understand them bringing back the X-Men. They're part of Marvel history. And people really do enjoy the X-Men, especially with X-Men 97 these days. But to say it's the end and then just a month later bring it back really doesn't sit well with me. But hey, nobody asked me. Nobody really cares about that as far as what I think, except maybe you do. But still, X-Men #1 is on my list. I am not necessarily saying that this is a good investment book. I don't necessarily believe it is a good investment book, but it's still a book that I want. It's a new X-Men, new #1. I'm good. So we'll go with that. Next on my list is X-Force 1. So, they're doing X-Force again. It happens, but, I'll give it a shot. So, instead not thinking this is going to be big investment opportunity, but I'm still going to pick up X-Force 1. Then they're bringing back NYX. So NYX #1. I will be picking it up, not thinking it's going to be a killer book, but you never know. You never know. So then on my list is Deadpool and Wolverine World War III #3. And I just think, #1 just came out. I haven't even read it yet. But I just think this is a good series that it's Deadpool and Wolverine and it's leading into the only Marvel movie we're getting this year. So I think the book is going to be a big seller. It's going to keep growing. I am recommending Deadpool and Wolverine World War III #3. Next on my list is a book I'm really looking forward to. Wolverine Deep Cut #1. So this is a new book by Chris Claremont talking about some of the battles between Wolverine and Sabretooth. So I'm really looking forward to this. Now, it's Wolverine, yeah, sure, great. But it's written by Chris Claremont. So it is on my list. I think this is an investment quality book. I think everybody should pick up at least 3 to 5 of them. So that's what I'm going to do. Then we have Life of Wolverine #1. Not sure about its investability, but it does go back and give a chronological history of James Hewitt and him being Wolverine. So I'm going to go for it. We'll see what happens. Then, Werewolf by Night, Blood Hunt #1. Now, Blood Hunt, it's everywhere. It's all over the place. But Werewolf by Night, Blood Hunt #1 supposedly changes the werewolf. And he gets new abilities and changes his appearance. So I want to go for this one. Then, Ultimates 2. Now, the reason I'm recommending Ultimates 2, I believe it's got some investment capabilities. The reason I recommend it is because, Ultimates 1 hasn't come out yet, but usually when a book doesn't come out and people aren't expecting it to be really, really hot, they buy some of number 1 and then reduce their numbers on number 2. So this is number 2. So I think that the numbers are going to be down. And if the Ultimates makes it big, like I think they will, this will be a good investment book. Ultimates number 2. Then on the list, Ultimate Spider-Man number 7. I don't see that anything big is going to be happening. Green Goblin and Spider-Man team up and do some stuff, but I think it's just par for the course. But Ultimate Spider-Man just has been a solid book, really entertaining, really hot. So I think issue number 7 is a good one to pick up. Then we have Spider-Man Shadow of the Green Goblin number 4. And I recommend this one because it's the last in this series that talks about a Green Goblin before Norman Osborn. So I picked up number 1, enjoyed it, good read. This is the last issue, so I think this is a good opportunity to pick this book up. Next on my list for Marvel, Annihilation 2099. Now, I have on my list number 1. Well, it's a 5-issue series and they're all in July. So Annihilation 2099 looks good. Supposedly it's the last of the Nova Corps, the last Nova. So I'm thinking this is going to be a good one. The Annihilation titles were good. The 2099 titles have been good. So I think a combo of the two is really going to be good. Then, Helverine number 3. Number 1 just came out. I haven't read it yet, but I think it's just going to be a hot series. So as long as they keep it going, I'm going to be buying Helverine because I think it's going to be a big one. I had about 10 number 1s, 7 number 2s. So I'm going with this book. Then we have Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 5. One of the reasons that I'm selecting this book is just it's the final battle, I believe, between the Hood and Johnny Blaze over the Ghost Rider himself. So we will see what happens with the battle between the two. So I think Final Vengeance number 5 is on my list. Not necessarily thinking it's an investment book, but I do believe a battle with Johnny Blaze. Yeah, I'm in. Then last on my list for Marvel is Star Wars Ahsoka number 1. Now, I think this is going to be a good investment book because even though it retells the story of the TV show, not everybody has Disney Plus. Not everybody knows Ahsoka outside of the comic books. So they're going to be telling Ahsoka's story in comics, Star Wars Ahsoka number 1. And I do think it will be big because remember what happened to The Mandalorian. It just popped. Everybody wanted Mandalorian. I think they still do. So we'll see what happens from there. Okay, then we'll be moving over to DC. Okay, from DC, there's Absolute Power, Ground Zero, and that just leads into the Absolute Power event. So, not thinking huge investment book, but I am interested at least in the Absolute Power, not the crossovers, but the Absolute Power itself. So I'm going to go with Ground Zero #1. Then Absolute Power #1. So we'll see what happens with Amanda Waller and how it goes. So then is Superman 16. It's a Absolute Power crossover, but I'm buying it because the synopsis reads good, and I've been enjoying Superman recently, and I think most everybody is, so I'm going to pick it up. Next from DC is Wonder Woman #11. So this is an Absolute Power crossover, but the story itself has more to it than just Absolute Power. So I'm certainly going to be picking it up and see what it has. Next, in my opinion, is an exciting book. Investment quality, heck yeah. This is Batman 150. Now you may, it's just Batman. Yeah, it's a 150, but no, one of the artists on the book is Dennis Cohen. And I think that he is going to be a big push on Batman. So I'm excited about Batman 150. I'm really looking forward to it. So next on the list from DC, James Tynion IV and The Nice House by the Sea. So it's just another of those books. Well, Nice House by the Lake #1 did really well. And I think Nice House by the Sea will as well. I think it'll be a good read. It'll be fun. And so we'll see what goes on from there. So that is the books from DC. Then from Boom, Hello Darkness #1. It's new anthology. And I think that it's got some great writers. Didn't write them down. Can't tell you exactly who they are, but I know I was impressed and looking forward to picking up Hello Darkness #1. Investment? Yes. Heck yes. Pick it up. I think a lot of people are going to be, I don't know, and they're just going to sit and let it pass by. So I think this is a good investment quality book for a #1 issue. So let's go for it. Hello Darkness #1. Next is Uncanny Valley #4. This is just a fun read from Tony Fleece about a kid who has to help his grandfather, who happens to be a cartoon character. So I had a blast with #1, and I'm looking forward to more. So Uncanny Valley #4. Then from Dynamite, Space Ghost 3. Now, a #1 has come out. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know, but I just happen to think that Space Ghost is a good character and that he's going to be going along now and making some comic history. So we'll see. Now, investment quality, I believe it is. For me, I'm going to pick up several copies. I picked up several copies of 1, I'm going to pick up several copies of 2, and several copies of 3. So that, that's my choice. I think it's going to be a good investment. Next from Titan, Conan the Barbarian #13. The reason I suggest this book is just that Jim Zub has been doing a great job making Conan relevant again. Conan should always be relevant, but he kind of slipped away, and they just a little bit here, a little bit there. So Conan the Barbarian #13. Next, I think just for the fun of it, Doctor Who, the 15th Doctor #2. don't think this is going to be huge on the investment scale, but I'm going to pick it up just because I think it's going to be fun because it's a brand new Doctor. We're not going back, Doctor 12, Doctor 13, you know. This is the 15th Doctor, issue number 2. Then Gun Honey Collision Course number 3. And I think, you know, the reason this is on my list is because of the fact that Gun Honey has been optioned for a movie or TV show. I'm pretty sure it's a movie. So I think getting Gun Honey Collision Course number 3 is a good option for investment. Wish I had the original Gun Honey series. I wasn't interested, and now shooting myself. Should have done it. All right, next up, I have books from Image. So first off is Witchblade number 1. Now they're relaunching Witchblade. I never did the original series, but you know, I'm thinking I'm going to pick this one up. So I am looking forward to the new Witchblade number 1. And yeah, I think it'll be a good investment to pick up a couple of copies, 2 or 3. Have 1 or 2 available in case the big book goes big. So Witchblade number 1. Then a book called The Domain number 1. Looks interesting, so at least I'll pick up the first issue, see how it goes. So then is Free Agents number 1. Again, pick up the first issue, take a look, see. Investment quality on these? Nah, not really sure. You know, hopefully they don't hit big and I missed out and made you guys miss out. So, sorry. Then we have Destro number 2. So, number 1, still a month away, but I'm thinking this is going to be a good Energon title. So I'm going to pick up Destro number 2. Then Geiger number 4. I just think the Ghost Machine books are just jumping out of the starting gate really hard and fast. So I think that Geiger 4 is going to be a good one to pick up. Then Misery number 2. Not 100% positive on Misery, but it's the number 2 issue. The number 1 hasn't come out yet, so I'm going to pick up Misery number 2. Then we have Redcoat number 4. Again, Ghost Machine going strong. I think it'll continue to do so. Then there's Scarlet number 2. So number 1 hasn't been released yet, still a month away, but I just think this is going to be a big hit. So I will be picking up several copies myself of Scarlet 1 and some more on Scarlet 2. Huge investment? Maybe you should pick up 1, maybe 2 extra copies, so 2 to 3 copies of this just in case. And then Rook Exodus number 4. Wow, guess what? Ghost Machine, yep. So I just happen to think these books are going to continue to be hot. And if they're not, well, they'll be going down, and you know, but I don't think so. I think they're going to be hot. Then from Massive Comics is Ram God number 1. You know, I'm not really sure about this book, but I read the synopsis. Sounds fun to me. I'll give it a try. So we'll see what happens with Ram God number 1. Then a fun one from Archie, Truth or Dare. It's a one-shot, so it's probably not going to be huge, but I believe it's, well, I'm not going to say what I believe it is because I just could be wrong. But it's interesting from Archie, so we'll see. And it's not a Betty Veronica book, Archie Jughead, you know. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm looking forward to it. Then we got Dark Horse. So we have Anansi Boys number 3. Just speculating on my own on this one. I think it's going to be good. So we'll see. And then Nemesis Rogues Gallery #2. Nemesis was big, and I just think it's going to continue to go well, so it's on my list, picking up Nemesis Rogues Gallery #2. Then we have a new #1 from IDW. I just picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #150, the end. Yeah, and for July we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Now, one of the things I have this on my list for, and yes, I do recommend this for speculation, is the new team. You know, it's not Eastman. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but the team looks great. So I'm not going to miss out on a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Pick it up. I don't think you'll be sorry. Then there's a new book with a new comic company in town called Addiction Comics. So Addiction Comics is coming out with a new book called Addiction, Death of Your Life, issue #1. I read the synopsis. It sounds interesting. About a doctor who runs afoul of the mob, the cartels. They pump her with a bunch of drugs that kill her, but then she comes back to life, and she's able to use her touch to give other people drugs. But I don't know if it's going to be for good, bad, going after the bad guys, helping the good guys. I don't know. We will see. It sounds interesting to me. So I'm going to be picking up Addiction, Death of Your Life #1. Then from Distillery, The Big Burn #1. Now, I just happen to be a big fan of the oversized comics, so I don't mind the fact that it's larger than a regular book. I don't mind at all. But they have a new book out called The Big Burn. Several people who have made a deal with the devil decide they want their souls back. So they're going to break into hell and go steal their souls back. I think that sounds hilarious. So it's probably not a comedy. It's probably very serious, but I just think it sounds fun. So I'm going to pick up Big Burn. Whether you do or not, that's up to you. I can't say, this is an investment book, but I just think it's going to be a fun read. Next, from Mad Cave, the book I've been waiting for, picked up one at Free Comic Book Day, Flash Gordon #1, a new Flash Gordon. I've loved Flash Gordon as a kid, and to see that they're coming out with a new book, that works for me. I'm going to be picking up 2 or 3 copies of Flash Gordon #1. I think it'll be a decent investment. Then there's a book called The Last Wardens. It just looks good. I read the synopsis, thought, yeah, this will be a good read for me. I'm not sure it's going to be the kind of book for everybody, but it is for me. I'm going to pick it up. Then from Mad Cave, a book called Soul Taker. Again, the synopsis looks good to me. So if you feel like it, though, pick up a copy of Soul Taker #1. Then from Oni Press is Epitaphs from the Abyss #1. And Oni Press is taking on the old EC moniker, an entertaining comic, the EC moniker, and this is the first book of the new EC line. So Epitaphs from the Abyss #1. So, I like the EC books, collect them when I can. So I just think this is going to be a good investment. A new EC book. Epitaphs from the Abyss, number 1. So it's on my list. Then from Scout Comics is Kiva, number 1. I'm usually not into animal stories, but the art caught me. So the synopsis is okay, but the art caught me. I think it just looks cute. So I'm going to pick up Kiva, number 1. Then we have The Dusk, number 1. He's a superhero, and right offhand, I don't remember what's going on, but I'm still going to pick up The Dusk, number 1. I'm not saying, hey, you should grab this as an investment. No, I'm going to pick up a copy, and if it's that good, I might pick up extras in number 2. But right now, just going to put that on my pull list. That is one thing on here. Every book that I'm sharing with you on this list is on my pull list at my LCS. I don't say, here, you should pick this book. I'm not, but you should. No, I don't do that. Then another thing, I just want people to know, from Dynamite, you're not going to find me promoting Vampirella books. She's not my thing. I'm not into Vampirella. Not going to say, oh, a new Vampirella book you should pick up. May recommend a Red Sonja book if a new one comes out, but not big into either of those. So, and there are a lot of other titles that are horror related, real. I mean, some of these I've mentioned are, but that I see, and I just think for me they're just too much. So they won't be on my list either. But that is my list for July previews. So I hope this is a help and that it will help you make choices on what books you're going to pick up. And we will see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.